What am I doing? I'm not doing anything in particular. Oh, my sound's off. Why is my sound off? I don't remember. Oh no, it's coming out the wrong device. Ah, it's a complete failure. Wait, can I change that in the settings? No, I can't. Now let's find out what happens to the stream when I close it and reopen it. Who knows? Does Twitch like me? Look at that, look! Look at me hiding my username. Ah, yeah. I imagine there's some horrible security awfulness that I'm doing wrong, but I did at least tick the hide username button. Wait, it's still coming out the wrong device. Oh, what am I doing? I'm an idiot. Is that better? I'll have to do it again now. I've just set up my sound devices wrong. What an idiot. Oh yeah, I haven't changed my my Twitch icon. It's still Max Payne. I changed it on most social media over to be Professor William Dyer, but I haven't changed this one yet. That used to be my icon on every social media platform, and then I changed it because it looks kind of condescending. And I worried that it was like, because I'm quite condescending anyway, I worried that it was like because your avatar picture is very much like it's like your face online, right? It's what people immediately perceive you as. And so if it portrays a certain personality or attitude, then I think that's immediately how people are going to be like respond to you. It's hard to say whether it made any difference changing it. I'm not sure. Right? Yeah, divination. This is super exciting. Oh my god. So I've actually been getting on fine with divination. I mean, like I recognise what people don't like about it. I think, but from the point of view of like it's really good from a mobile perspective, and I realise that's a little bit of damnation, but like all you have to do is like click backwards and forwards is great. I probably shouldn't play divination though, should I? What should I be doing? I don't know. Let's just get rid of these memories now that I've managed to get my sound set up. Yeah, like playing you can do divination on mobile while also playing another game and watching TV. Like like divination is like third screen. It's great. And it works really well for that. But even by comparison to like mining or archaeology, which are fairly AFK, divination you don't, because one of the interesting things about mobile is like actually doing bank runs is a real nuisance. Like so divination doesn't require you to do bank runs, which is great. Right, where are we going? Back to Berthorpe. What should I actually do though? Yeah, I'll do some Slayer probably. Oh no, I could do Shattered Worlds. Well, I was trying to level up my attack, and the problem is like 90% of my Slayer tasks are magic. Fishing the shark outfit is full screen. No, because fishing spots occasionally move, right? Like fishing does require you to re-click. Most things aren't truly AFK in the sense that you do have to like occasionally check and re-click. What have I got on? I've got this div outfit on. I discovered I had a 10-year cape, so that's nice because I needed a cape. Menopause VIP has noticeably longer switch areas. Alright, fair enough. I'm going to go do Shattered Worlds, I think. Don't need anything for that, do I? I'll do one lot of Shattered Worlds. I don't think I can complete like 35 yet, but let's have a go. I found a cloak to go with my armor, so now I'm a fashion scaper. Well, that all clips a bit, but it's fine. I'm assuming this cape isn't part of the same set. I liked that applying the armor override outfit hid my cape automatically. Yeah, right? This outfit's amazing, I love it. Because it's so try hard. But then I just went and like sunbathed on the beach and played hook a duck. So now this is like he's like basically Evil Dave, right? Like wants desperately to be edgy, but actually just plays hook a duck all the time. Feed me. I eventually figured out that equip me was a trap, and that'd been confusing me. I assumed equip me would be better than the crappy gear that I had, but it turned out not to be true at all. Also, eventually, oh, I've got my auto retaliates off. Why is my auto retaliate off? Does it turn off automatically under some circumstances? So, I mean, there's an obvious interesting problem here with Revo++ that there is no obvious way for me to improve my combat performance because I'm not actually doing anything. I can select, like, what I believe to be the high damage, low health targets in Shattered Worlds, but that doesn't really seem to be how Shattered Worlds is balanced anyway, so I haven't noticed any major differences in, like, health amongst the different enemies. Is my food cooked chicken? Karam just spiced chicken. This music's very loud. I don't know. I haven't looked at the enemy balancing for Shattered Worlds, but I'm assuming that they're all roughly the same rather than wildly different. It's an interesting... I mean, they have different attack types, right? But not like... They don't seem to be like I mentioned it a while ago, actually, when I was talking about... What was I streaming? I can't remember. And I was talking about a mod for Neverwinter Nights written by someone who eventually went on to work at BioWare that I really liked. And what I didn't mention was I was talking about the story, but it also had really good combat design for Neverwinter Nights. Neverwinter Nights had absolutely atrocious combat mechanics, but he'd done really good combat design, where he had created effectively monster classes, like consistent monster classes, like 12 of them or something, Berserker, Rampager, Backstabber, that sort of thing. And they had a consistent set of abilities, like the healer always healed and the Backstabber always tried to stealth. And you learned kind of his language for describing enemy types. And then, because every combat encounter had a sort of random mixture of enemy classes, you had to quickly target prioritize in each group and learn what needed to be killed and what didn't. And I've never... Obviously, a lot of games have, like, monster classes in them, or, like, in this group you have to kill the healer. That's a staple of, like, WoW Dungeon gameplay. But it's not that common. Like, I don't think most... I'm not an expert on Diablo likes, but Diablo 3 itself doesn't really do that at all. Diablo 3 is more like... I guess it does occasionally, because you get, like, a summoner. You get a horde, and then there's a summoner or something. But there isn't usually, like... Like, his combat design was like every group was like an interesting, randomly varied mixture of monster types. And I feel like Shattered Worlds should really benefit from that. Like every group has like a healer and a buffer. Or sorry, not every group, but like every group has something in it that's interesting, like a healer or a buffer or a glass cannon or something, so that you're always like target analyzing. And I feel like in this one that isn't... I feel like in this version that it doesn't seem to matter, target prioritization. Am I misunderstanding? Because it felt like the differences between the monsters are very small. Yeah, their appearances are aesthetic, yeah. Like, I mean, obviously there is a slight difference between ranged things and melee things, but even then it's only slight. I should probably finish you off, shouldn't I? So I haven't actually played Vernic Undercity. Like, I talked to them a lot about its design, but there wasn't much I could usefully contribute in terms of feedback. Does that have elements like that? Yeah, it did. Yeah, because I watched everyone fighting the healer on this. Is there a healer on the stairs, right? That was healing stuff, and no one spotted it. And that's an example of the kind of thing I mean. You have to start focusing on things that work against your style. Oh yes, of course. Yeah. Okay. In fact, yeah, I should be praying magic, shouldn't I? I'm not used to praying. It's not an intuitive part of my I haven't internalized it as a basic... Like, I understand intellectually as a basic fact of RuneScape, but I haven't internalized it at an instinctual level yet. It's not how I would have designed it personally, no. But it feels relatively functional by comparison to most of the combat system to me. That would be my take on Prayer. Like it's not that it couldn't be improved, but it's not like screaming out. It's not entirely unchanged because the protection prayer's immunity before EOC, and they were changed to 50%. Do you know if I've got best in slot action bar? I have the melee two-handed action bar from the wiki, and I have now finally got my strength up to the state where I can actually use everything on the bar, because I was intentionally using a very suboptimal bar for a while, and it was fine. I imagine there's probably a better bar for specifically for Shattered Worlds. I imagine, although there seems to be quite a strong bias towards AOE on this bar, which hurts me a lot when I'm doing Slayer, but is tremendously useful in Shattered Worlds. Oh, this music's really bugging me. It's not really what I want to listen to this late at night. I'm a bit tired. Do I actually need to finish these off? Oh yeah, I guess I do to finish that. AoE's once 90% when you get Soul Split. Yeah, that makes sense actually, yeah. At the moment I'm just like trying to fight things one by one and then pull like 20 of them. That's partly just, you know, I mean, it's an illustration of what's wrong with having basic CP in your rotation, right? AoE should be a choice, not just something I do automatically. It shouldn't be, like, AoE shouldn't just be a default part of my rotation. Zamorak is an amazing boss of the mechanics. That's really good to hear, Beggy. I had a small part in Zamorak, but largely my role was like writing dialogue. No, I didn't even write the dialogue. I think Mod William wrote the dialogue. I wrote the cutscene, and I reassured Rahman that actually he was doing a good job when he was really worried that everyone would hate his boss, because he's really, really not confident. Like before every project goes out, he's like, "Oh my god, this is trash. This is the worst update." So a big part of my job is just reassuring him that actually he's done a good job. Looks like Erebus. Yeah, it does. Is it the same? No, it's Runescape. It's the Runescape map. Or is it from? It is based on Runescape. Yeah. I don't know how much work they did. I remember them talking. They talked about the backdrop a lot. Like I was in a lot of meetings during Shattered Worlds where they talked about the skybox and what was visible through the portals as well. That was really important. Which I guess the portals are all like plain blue and red, so I guess they never ended up managing to implement any of that. I think they wanted to have like a portal that had like a star field through it. George Amara says, "Yeah, I would assume this was where the fight. You know, I can't remember what it's. You know, the bit at the end where you like go inside the Nightmare of Mar. I'm assuming it's that kit, which is the same thing we used for Erebus. Like it was that kit that we used for Erebus. There are stars through the portal, are there? Maybe I just didn't notice them. Paul will be devastated that I didn't notice his stars. There's a little bit of judgment here in terms of like trying to accurately judge how far down this corridor I need to go to kill things before heading back to the exit without wasting the minimum amount of time. But it's pretty minimal. Am I missing some key aspect of gameplay or sophistication in Shattered Worlds that I'm just not doing? It is more engaging than Slayer, I think. I mean, it's kind of supposed to be more engaging than Slayer, right? But like it's nice from the... So, I mean, the advantage I have compared to, I guess, most of you guys who are new to Shattered Worlds is I'm training attack. So, like, it feels good to be just thrown monsters incessantly that I can just murder. That feels I'm doing Shattered Worlds as a training method. So then, oh, I probably should have taken the zones one, shouldn't I? Never mind. Because I'm doing it as a training method, everything else is just kind of bonus. I'm assuming that per spawn and easiest to kill, they're not fantastic training. I'm guessing they're balanced not to be as good as Slayer monsters, but because it throws something at you and you don't really have to think, it feels pretty good as a training method. I haven't actually checked that. I don't feel like I gain levels very quickly. What's my XP per kill? It's about 150 or so, isn't it? Oh, I didn't see that. 120, 160, yeah. I like that it's like level balanced. I don't know. I worry that my take on tiering things is out of step with RuneScape. I'm thinking a lot about like what is RuneScape and what is the essence of RuneScape, and I'm worried that like to me RuneScape is very under tiered. Like, I mean, the obvious example is like just the mismatch between skill levels and equipment levels, which just makes DIYing horrible. But there's all sorts of places where like, you know, like Flax being relevant all the way to the end game. Well, it's not relevant to the end game, but you know what I mean. Like relevant all the way through the fletching skill, or like weird stuff like that is very strange. Or like soft clay being used still to make the strongest kind of urns, and just weird things like that just seem very strange to me. Because there are reward spaces there that kind of don't exist because one low-level item is filling the entire reward space. You know, like I don't know. But on the other hand, like you could definitely over-tier everything if there's like 10 tiers of flax and 10 tiers of clay and 10 tiers of like precious metal. You know, you could do 10 tiers of gem with 10 tiers of precious metal, so that there's then 10 tiers of jewelry, and that would kind of feel a bit over the top. I think that would be my inclination. Wait, where's the boss? Why can't I see the boss? Is it too far away? That feels a bit broken, if that's true. Yep, there he is. Hello. Is all this stuff going to train me on all the way to the boss, or is it going to be aggro? Problem with tiers is they kill the early to mid game. You can ignore tier 60 weapons and just pick the one that's easiest to obtain. Yeah, but the thing is, there's lots of different use cases, right? So, like, one of the major concerns I had with mining and smithing was, you know, like I kind of felt like there was a general understanding that if we made all of the armor power armor, it would make dragon armor redundant. Now, of course, dragon armor was redundant anyway, so it was a slightly ridiculous argument. But given that it went all the way up to tier 90, if I could have if Elder Rune had been power armor, that would have been a little bit weird for like tier 80 and 90 power armor, which was still at the time fairly relevant as gear that people actually used in practice. But the weapons, I just kind of snuck through anyway. It was like, like these weapons are, because there's no distinction between tank weapons and power weapons, right? We made them not augmentable, which I think was probably the trick. But even so, unless I need an augmentable weapon, a tier 90 smithed weapon is pretty good. I'm not going to use dragon weapons. I'm going to use an orichalcum weapon because I made it myself. It makes me feel good. So I've lost track of what I was saying. It's okay. Like Marty, you were saying, like if everything's a bit over tiered, then I just pick the best one at that tier. But I think it's okay because they have different use cases. Like if I'm an Iron Man, smithing my own orichalcum sword is probably significantly easier than farming up a dragon sword. And it's really cool that those different play modes exist that reward different pieces of content, you know. You use dragon armor over a chalcite when you got them early on iron. But yeah, it depends what you get as a drop, right, and the sources. Smithing weapons have better stats because of the plus X. They shouldn't do. We balanced them because we rebalanced all of the what we called artifact armor. I don't think that term caught on, right? But like we described anything that's not manufactured that only drops is an artifact. So dragon armor is artifact, and Barrow's armor is artifact. An artifact equipment should be balanced to have the same modifier as a fully upgraded smithed item, and they're the same except the armor is power armor and the weapons are not augmentable. Oh well, the armor isn't augmentable either. But they should be. They should have the same stats. You were using tier 60 when you killed Mole for the first time, getting the Dragon 2-hander felt really disappointing. Yeah, well, yeah. Like, yeah, mid game combat just isn't balanced with that in mind at all, is it? It's not like, yeah, I did reasonably well there. Oh, check it out. So much anima. Did I get an attack level? Yes, I did. I like bonus XP was my design, and I like bonus XP. I think it's really good. I think it's a really good way of like. Its problem is it's been because the game just kind of throws it at you. Everyone just finds bonus XP meaningless because they're always capped on it, or not capped, but like have more than it than they can burn off. But like as a piece of, I think as a piece of design, like I think bonus XP fits a lot better than like quest rewards. Sorry, I'm not saying that all quest rewards should be bonus XP because within the current game that wouldn't make any sense because it would be useless to everybody. But I feel like there's a version of the game where instant large chunks of XP are bonus XP. Well, it shouldn't be called bonus XP, it's a terrible name, but I've tried to rename it a few times. And then you kind of earn it off, and like Orichalcum weapons have better stats than dragon weapons at +1, +2, +3. Oh, they shouldn't do. Is it possible that the dragon weapon stats haven't been updated since the mining and smithing rework and are inaccurate? That sounds unlikely. The wiki people are pretty good, but I don't actually know. We're doing 36 to 40. I feel like I need Vampiric. Like, Vampiric is the difference between doing a good run and doing a bad run. Doesn't feel like it's worth bringing prayer potions to Shadow Worlds, but maybe I'm... Dragon is tier 60, Orichalcum is tier 63. Yeah, Orichalcum +3 being 63 is intentional. It was my intention that Dragon be balanced to be 63. It's possible that just didn't happen. Oh, it's also possible I'm getting confused and we just thought that it being power was good enough. Like the pickaxes should balance that way. The dragon pickaxe. Anyone happen to have that to hand to look at? The dragon pickaxe ought to have the same stats as an Orichalcum pick +3. I don't remember consciously choosing to have the dragons be worse stats. It was my intended design that they be the same, and the Orichalcite not have better stats. Wait, it's not Orichalcite, is it? It's Orichalcum. I'm getting confused. Orichalcite is the ore. Am I getting confused? I think that's correct. Dragon is better armor because power armor is great. Yeah, I mean that's fine, right? Like it's still better, but it wasn't intended to be that weird case where like actually it had 3 levels. It's fine. It's not a big deal. Apparently, no one's complained about it, and just I mean that's part of the thing, right? It's like it doesn't matter anyway because dragon armor just doesn't matter. But it's a little strange. Did my prayer get switched off by something? What? Orichalcum dual wield is objectively better than dragon dual wield. Alright, okay. That was not intended to be the case. It just feels like it's not that big a deal. But like, I don't know. Like it's difficult really because like yeah like I get that was one of the questions we had to ask with the rework, and we kind of answered with the rework experimentally to see how people felt about it. Was is it okay if I can basically skill myself gear all the way up to tier 90? And I feel like the answer is yes. And the tank armor, power armor thing was kind of a weird compromise where we essentially just accepted that tank armor is worse, because one of the things we were being asked to do at the time was buff tank armor to make it like an equally valid playstyle choice to power armor, and I don't actually believe that's possible, which I think I've talked about before. Well, sorry, it's not possible to do without making it overpowered. But it ended up working out quite nicely. This whole artisan slash artifact distinction ended up working out quite nicely because it gave the dropped equipment a purpose within the game. RS Clay, is there a cap to Shattered Worlds like Talos at 4000? I don't know, I've got no idea. Sorry. I'm playing to improve my knowledge of RuneScape. I imagine it'll say on the wiki sometime. Oh, Cobra says yes, there is. What is it? Like, does the interface go up to a certain value? I was assuming it capped at like 100. Oh, it's 4K, right, okay. Is it... Right, that's interesting. Is it combat level? Like, how high do people go? Oh, hang on, I need to go do the thing, don't I? Go do the thing. And I guess... look how pro I'm being. I'm turning off my prayers while I'm running for ages. Look at that. That's an absolute pro move. I want boosted, don't I? Yeah, greedy. Absolute greedy play. I basically only have one strategy in all games, which is to play as greedy as possible. I'm glad it has. I used to call it go for the straight, but I think now the terminology has improved to the point where I can say I play greedily. Smithing gear feels like it's in a good spot. Yeah, I mean, we sort of, there were a few cases where I think we were sort of overly cautious. You can see the way we protected necks. We sort of protected barrows as well, didn't we? Isn't barrows needed for something in the mining and smithing rework? And obviously Invention was protecting those things to an extent anyway. They still have a use in the ecosystem. And we protected the dragon pickaxe specifically, although not the rest. Oh no, is dragon... Do you need dragon pieces? Rise of the Six is needed for trim masterwork, right, but not original barrows or dragon, is that correct? You don't actually, like... I'm sure we did something with dragon. Yeah, I know the dragon pick. So we specifically protected the dragon pick, and I think it's an interesting question as to whether we should. Like, was that the right decision? Did we need to? But you don't actually need dragon. Is there no like equivalent of like draconic essence or anything? I remember thinking about that, but I think we didn't do anything with it. Torva Malevolent, yeah. And so it kind of became redundant, right? And it was okay because it was already redundant. Like that was the thing. Like big chunks of the game were just already redundant, and the mining and smithing rework didn't do anything to reinforce that value. It kind of cemented their death and confirmed their death, whereas before it had been kind of informal. But I don't think it would have been helpful to like require dragon equipment to smith or a calcite or anything like that. You know, it wouldn't make any sense. It's a good call because you saved BHG. Why is there no group Shattered Worlds? Is there not? I didn't actually know that. It seems like an obvious thing to want to do group. Regular barrows are still... But Big Game Hunter isn't BHG. It's BGH. I'm confused. Wasn't Big Game Hunter after mining and smithing though? So how did mining and smithing save Big Game Hunter? I'm still confused. I would say like one of the big areas of lack of knowledge, I think is fair, is like the specific relationship and sources between pieces of content. It's not immediately intuitively obvious to me where things come from. Some of them I know, some of them I don't. Like if you ask me where any given ability codex comes from, I wouldn't be able to tell you. Except Bladed Dive. The Game Hunter drops Dragon Mattox. Can you augment Dragon Mattox? I don't know how invention and archaeology interact. Yeah, that makes sense. That's why I'm trying to rush invention. Like, so I did a bunch of invention on launch, but it was on a dev account, so it's completely different, right? It doesn't work the same. Like, I want to understand the psychological pressures, and I can read a guide as well. But the guides are all written by high-level players, and they're not having the same psychological pressures either, because it's like, you know, grind this a million times and do it easily, which isn't the same thing as like feeling the very start of invention. It's exactly that stuff that I'm like trying to get a feel for. Where does the 70 matter come from? Or the 70 artifact matter, if there is one. Oh, sorry, you said you can augment dragon. You need them. Oh, 70 is crystal. Yeah, that makes sense. You just make it with like crystal flex or whatever. What are they called? Crystal dust. It's basically the same as the smithing. Sorry, the mining pick, I assume. Harmonic dust. Yeah, that's it. What was my press turned off again? Why aren't these guys killing me? It's very odd. So I hadn't had auto. So I had to Google how to turn auto retaliate on in ESC, and I hadn't been playing with auto retaliate on the vast majority of the time. And it's interesting that when it's good that when the content is moderately challenging. Like I'm probably going to fail this before I get to World 40. I'm probably not going to complete World 40 because I'm going to run out of food. But because the content is moderately challenging, actually auto retaliate is a bad thing, which is interesting. Because it constantly takes me to the wrong target. Like I run for miles, get to some far away thing, and then run all the way back again. I'm so like I found it impossible to build a coherent design philosophy for whether or not old content should be protected. I don't. It feels very like it feels just so context sensitive. Like an old piece of content which is absolutely beloved and iconic and people still enjoy doing is probably worth protecting, whereas an old piece of content that people find a chore and a pain in the ass probably isn't. You know, like I don't think there's a sort of general rule that we should always protect or never protect. Um, like Nex is more important to protect than Blast Furnace, right? Like, I mean, I'm not saying we need to keep protecting Nex, but like, you know, you would obviously protect Nex over Blast Furnace. I think one thing I disagree with is going back and adding new rewards to old content. I know some players like that idea, like you should incentivize. Like there are old mini games that no one plays. I mean, I know Thaler was kind of an attempt to do that, but it wasn't. it was a system as a whole rather than specifically buffing one individual minigame, right? Oof, that was a lot of... Damn it, I've messed that up, didn't I? That is a lot of incoming damage. Oh, oh, I'm out of prayer, that's why. I should probably be pressing my hotkey, right? I do have a hotkey for that instead of manually eating the food like an absolute noob. I do have a button for it. Yeah, it's auto retaliate all the way over there. Oh, I'm going to make it to world net at 39. Probably. No, hit the wounded one. Kill the one in the dress. To people with misophonia find it impossible to play RS. What is misophonia? Is it where you can hear miso soup? When people can't stand the sound of eating. No, I don't know. I guess we'll take the one that's good and bad, but it'll probably instantly kill me. And the first enemy explodes in my face. When it's during design, they conceived of the mutators as being extremely impactful. I mean, obviously I'm only up to world 40, but like the mutators don't feel super impactful to me. Like obviously they do affect the game, but they're not like transformative. Do they get crazier? Oh, absolute failure. They're very impactful later on. Ah, much. So I mean, I'm not wildly optimistic for finishing that. How am I doing for almost there to play the dive, almost there. Ah, 10 million or 9 million. I like to round up, obviously, for no reason. Yeah, not bad. It's one seventh of the way there, just about. How am I doing for attack? I guess I should keep going until my attack hits 60, shouldn't I? Am I doing the challenges? No, I should. I should do the bronze challenge at least. Oh, do I? Have I already got that? Did I already unlock that? Kill 50 spiders. That's probably gonna be too difficult, but I may as well try. Last time I couldn't do the silver challenge at all. Eat the food! Eat the food! Eat the food! This looks like a challenge I could probably grind out by just spamming food. Oh no, maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe I can't. Was I doing something wrong there? Did I get stunned? Where's all my... Oh, my chest is empty. It's to dodge the blue circles. Alright, I was concentrating on trying to find my food button. Let's have a look. Let's try that again. I couldn't even see any blue circles. Let me try again. Is that the mutator? Is that like the special mutator for the challenge or something? There's a blue circle. Oh, I see them. Yeah. Okay. I can't move. Wow. I guess I should be learning how to use search, shouldn't I? That sounds like something I should probably do here. Although I think this is probably not the ideal way to train my attack skill. I think that's probably fair to say. It's unclear whether we're going to land. Yeah, yeah, there's the stars. Yeah, they did get it working. Yeah, okay. Well done, environment, guys. Sorry, for some reason just didn't pass it at all. No, they did. It's weird stuff that you like blank on. Oh, it didn't. It didn't. Oh, it doesn't reset your prayer. Is there an altar I should have prayed at outside? I didn't notice. I'm not. That's what I mean about not having prayer. Is just not in my intuitive. It's like best in slot invention training. Oh God, tell us the amazing lore of the giant rune in the middle of the lumber swamp. Yeah. I mean, I've been thinking about like the true scale of the RuneScape world, right, and how big things actually are, and it's interesting to think about like. I feel like I'm pretty settled now on the continent is the size of Europe, which means that Mistalin is the size of France or thereabouts, or Spain, which means that, which actually has really weird impacts on the scale of everything, because there's all sorts of weird things that are embedded in the lore, right? So Varrock, despite being exactly as far north as Edgeville, does not appear. Its proximity to the wilderness is not, as far as I know, a plot point. I haven't noticed anything in the game that cares about. Whereas Edgeville is canonically next to the wilderness. That's the point. I don't think Varrock is canonically next to the wilderness, but it's next to the wilderness. And then the dig site is right outside Varrock. Like it's within the same conurbation as St. Istan, right? That's the whole point of the dig site. So the dig site is. Oh, yes, that's true actually. Well, yeah, no, but he could still attack Varrock from the wilderness without it literally being on the border. Like he's attacking somewhere. Like Zamarakians attack all over the place, right? You don't have to be on the border. Does the defender of Varrock specifically say it's close? Okay, yeah. And then, but then, so then the dig site is next to. It must be next to Varrock, because the whole point of the dig site is that it's digging up St. Istan, and Varrock is built on the ruins of Ceranthium and the dig site. So the two must be right next to each other. But then the dig site must be on the River Salve because of both the barge and the dude in the, like they pan in the river, right? So like the dig site must be quite close to the river, which means that from a scale theory point of view, Varrock must be it's functionally on the River Salve. Like the River Salve is the water source for Varrock. It's a large city. It must be built on a river. That river is the Salve, and that's really weird from the point of view of like Mauritania. Like if Mistalin is at war with Mauritania, and their capital city is literally on the river. Is it not Salve? Do you say Salve? I say Salve. Wait, am I getting muddled up? Am I getting my rivers muddled up? No, the Lum goes west of Varrock. The Lum bends round and goes west of Varrock, right? Yeah, and goes up to Edgeville, and to the east of Varrock is the Salve. And like well, that's the thing. Like you end up with this weird scale theory problem where like settlement. So like anyway, the easy one I was going to mention that made me think of this is. I suspect that Lumbridge Swamp is probably not coastal. that would be like the easiest one to think about. Like Lumbridge Swamp is not on the coast, therefore we could like, because I don't think that's referenced, or like doesn't matter. Everyone's just saying you're typing the word out, but I don't know how you're pronouncing it. wells work? No, you can't. You can't supply a city the size of Varrock with wells. I don't think. Can you? I guess it depends how large Varrock is, which is also a thing that we don't know. I don't think I'm going to make this with no prayer points, am I? I don't think this is a good. This isn't a good deal. The problem is I've got food hotkeyed on something really inconvenient. Like 8 is not a good hotkey. Yeah, 57 threat. Salve like valve. Yeah. But salve would be the Latin, right? You can right click convert to start changing keyboard. Oh, that's convenient. I mean, I set like that was my first thing I actually did was this. So my second bar is bound 1 to 8 because my first bar is Revo, because you can't make the second bar Revo, which would be far more convenient. So I went through and... You think they probably mispronounce it? Yeah, that makes sense actually, yes. It would make sense that the Nisthalinians having an English accent would say salve. River salve. Okay, that's the canonical pronunciation now. Been down to salve. Yeah, I wanted to call Croesus something else. What was it? I can't remember now. Oh, excretius was what I wanted to call it. And they didn't like that. Excretius. But they were worried that it might sound a bit like excrete. And then I tried changing it to Cretius, which I thought was pretty cool. Which is spelt Crescis. And I thought that was pretty cool too, and then they didn't like that either, so then we found Croesus, which is technically pronounced Croesus. And Mod Spear was insisting on pronouncing it Croesus. Yeah, marketing are not happy about Adrastea. They're like, can we not have some words that people can spell and pronounce? Like, please make up some words that are good. It's tricky, really. I never know to what extent to prioritize that. Our marketing guy's really good, and he's really bothered about that kind of stuff. Should I use I don't actually know what the Altar of Restoration does. Let's find out, I guess. All anima gained will now heal you. Oh, okay. That could be the difference, then. Wait, do I? But I don't have the thing that drains anima from people, do I? Oh well. Well, that's the thing, right? It's tricky to be like, you know... I don't want to be in a situation where we're like... Oh god, like, you know what Games Workshop do, where they just make up these really stupid... Like, everything has to be unique, but everything has to be incredibly, like, child-friendly, so they have all this really stupid stuff like... Uruk, Blade Killer, Storm, Bloodfang, and everything's just called that all the time, and it's really not good. Like simple, you know, it's the logic that leads to Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, right? Like, and I often was like I would often discuss with people, and I'm still not convinced I was in the right here, but I would have discussions with people, and they would say like, are these words, like I would use complex Latin words. I mean, you guys have seen my Third Age document, right? And like, you know, we're talking about like, I can't think of a good example off the top of my head. Oh my god, that's a lot of guys trying to kill me. This is not a melee-friendly situation, is it? What am I trying to say? Should I be targeting the rangers first, or the wizards first? I don't have a good handle on that. I would kill rangers faster, right? but also wizards are specifically damaging me more. I don't have a clear impression of what the correct kill to survive ratio is. I'm melee to take out mages. But wouldn't it be faster to kill the rangers? My accuracy is decent against wizards. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't thought about it too much. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so I put all these complicated Latin and Greek things into the game, right? And people say to me like, well, is that not a bit advanced for our audience? And I say, well, the thing about fantasy is fantasy makes up gibberish words all the time. Like there's always like gibberish fantasy. So is there somewhere to restore prayer near here? There isn't, is there? Oh, that sucks. What a weird thing to leave out. What should I be doing? I know War's Retreat has a little thing in it to restore prayer, doesn't it? Do I just tally back to Lumbridge? Oh, I get the no, because it doesn't drop bones. Yeah, where's the? Let me just hack it in right now. Right? Yeah, I need to get my. Maybe when I get properly on my medication, I'll be so proactive that I'll just load up Runescript and just edit a alter in and be like, prioritize this, please. So how do people restore prayer? Like, what's the meta way of doing it? I don't actually like. I use prayer so little that I don't even think about where I would restore it. You just carry prayer pots. I guess so, but like one prayer pot restores 300, so I'd be using like, sorry, one dose restores 300. Is there even an altar in Lumbridge? Yes, there is. There it is. Anybody? Start chugging. Yeah, but I don't have it. I don't have that much. What you need? It's the stuff from the Hobgoblin Peninsula, right? I can't remember what it's called. Is that right? Snapegrass. Yeah, Ranarr and Snapegrass. Yeah. I don't have that much. Like I'm sort of okay. I've got to the point now where I'm still playing fairly stupid, but I'm starting to look things up, which feels natural for the point in the game I'm at. Like that's what I'm saying in terms of like I would either look things up or I would stop playing. If I wasn't willing to start looking things up, no, I can't imagine many players like continuing to play past this point without using some sort of guide. Am I convinced you need a lesser bladed dive yet? Oh, I'm totally convinced. Yeah, I just want to make sure I unlock it before I make any changes. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm not saying I would make any changes. You know what I mean? Like I never promise anything, but I wouldn't want to be like, well, I haven't unlocked bladed dive, so I think there should be an easier to get bladed dive. I haven't got into the habit of using Surge because I navigate almost entirely using the minimap, and Surge doesn't interact with the minimap well at all. Because I don't know which way my character is facing because I'm not looking at my character, I'm looking at the minimap. So I haven't at all got into the habit of navigating the world using Surge. I've got it on my bar for that purpose, but I don't use it. I've prioritized my I was forward thinking and thought, look, I'll make sure I've got all my protection bars readily hotkeyed so I can do prayer switches, and haven't yet needed to prayer switch once, and probably shouldn't prioritize them in my hotkeying to the extent that I have. But I'm worried about that problem when I get to it. Right, what was I doing? I'll just give it another go, right? Neil. Yeah, lesser bladed dive wouldn't damage, right? And then the upgrade would cause it to do damage. That seems obvious to me. I feel like, I think there's an open design discussion to have on this, right? And I'm by no means like dictating how things should be. But my feeling is that ability unlocks are too transformative. Like, it's good that we've got this new reward space of ability unlocks, but they all seem like they're ridiculously transformative. They completely change the way you play the game, which is good in a sense, but bad because of how exclusive they are. If that makes sense. Like, it shouldn't be like, this game is a pain in the ass to navigate until you've done like 20 hours of Shattered Worlds. That's a really weird way to build a game. If the game is better with Bladed Dive in it, then like I feel the same. Like I'm really feeling the lack of a rune pouch, And I feel like I mean, there's so much in this game which is like, we've identified a problem with the game, so we'll put it as a reward. And then it's like, well, I can't accept. Like, I'm like, cool, can I go buy a rune pouch? No, I can't. 16 million. Okay, I guess I won't be getting one of those. But on the other, the danger, of course, of the way that I'm talking is that high level, it's frustrating that we put in high-level, exclusive, tradable QOL features, because that means that if we then, like, I don't mind, like, I'm 100% prepared to go and change it so that you don't require. I can't prioritize it. It doesn't seem like a very high priority issue to me. But making sure that you don't need to complete Family Crest in order to put gold in the ore box, right? Nothing has been devalued there of any meaning whatsoever. It doesn't matter. Even if Family Crest didn't also have the smelting gauntlets, it still wouldn't matter because it's Family Crest. But when we're talking about an ability codex that's worth hundreds of millions or billions, or like Grace of the Elves, or something else that has like QOL features that arguably should be baseline, you can't take that away without replacing it with something as good, ideally better. Because if you replace it with something which is technically worth having but not anywhere near as good, it crashes and suddenly everyone's miserable. And that's just not, like, is the game better as a result? And I think that's actually genuinely a hard game design question to answer. Because some people will say, oh, Jagex, you just bite the bullet. You just got to just do it. Stop being such a coward and just fix things. But, like, if you make as many people angry, like, the long-term health of the game does matter. And I wish that certain decisions had been made with more of the long-term health of the game in mind. But the short-term health of the game also matters. And it's not worth fixing the long-term health of the game if everyone quits, And you can never really say, like, some stuff players just get over and are fine, and other stuff is like the breaking point, and it's like, no, I don't want to play the game anymore because you ruined my stuff. And we can't just assume that that isn't the case. So it's difficult. It's really difficult. With the new God books, is there any QL to make them also go to 24 hours like scripture? I don't know enough about the mechanics of them to answer that. My knowledge of specific endgame rewards is quite hazy. I find it unlikely I'm ever going to get to the point of personally understanding them, if that makes sense. That's kind of why we have other developers. I don't intuitively see a reason why the God books shouldn't be fillable for longer, but I also don't know it well enough to know what the implications of that are, so I can't speak intelligently on the matter because I don't understand what the implications would be either way. I'm assuming there's a reason they were made that way. It's possible there wasn't. But if there wasn't, then is there any way to tell who's carrying the portal pieces? I found this one the most annoying because I just have to kill random things. It doesn't seem to it. Am I missing something? Is it just? I'm assuming it's random on drop, but you're guaranteed to get them. Oh, it's just random. Okay, but you're guaranteed to get them when you finish killing everything, right? So sometimes I just get them straight away. 4K Telos, no food, no armor, no weapons. Oh my god, subscribe now. Yeah. No, I'm not going to be doing. Yeah. I mean, it depends. It depends whether I get to the point of like cheating, and by cheating I mean like, there's lots of people at work who are like, oh yeah, I'll give you some billions of gold and stuff. Like not by cheating from Jagex was strictly forbidden to like, we're not allowed to put anything into the economy. But a lot of my colleagues are extremely wealthy, and would happily give me money. But that's not like doing it myself, and I don't really want to do that. But it may come a point where if I want to continue testing the game, I have to accept some offers. Or at least get boosted or something, I don't know, we'll have to see. I can't see myself doing the endgame grind. That's not, like, it's kind of not aimed at me, if that makes sense. Like, different pieces of content are aimed at different levels of engagement and different types of player, and the PVM bossing endgame that Runescape does is not aimed at my player type. So I can't see myself doing it. But we'll see. We'll see how I get. but it seems unlikely. I am now hotkeying my food, but I feel very stupid with my finger on 8. Well, how would I... I guess I should rebind, what, all of WSAD, Q, and E? I guess there's no reason not to, but it feels very strange playing RuneScape with my hands there. That isn't as a profoundly unnatural place to have my hands. I'm more of a story mode elite dungeon player. Yeah, exactly, yeah. Like, I would be playing, if I were playing organically, I would be playing only to unlock. Like, my motivation is to understand the game much better. Like, that's my primary motivation for playing, and that's an extremely artificial one. It is legitimate, and I actually had it on my long list of, like, player motivations, but it's such a minority of the player base, right? Most people don't play games just to learn about them. They certainly wouldn't play them to this depth just to learn about them. That's an insane thing to do. So it's quite an unusual... Like no game reviewer is going to play an MMO that they don't otherwise have a reason to play for thousands of hours just to understand it. That's just, you know, doesn't make sense. But so like, yeah, but so with my player motivation hat on, yes, the reason I would be playing is in order to unlock quests. Unbind WASD from camera. I don't. Oh yeah, I was wondering whether what WASD actually did, because I don't. I just use middle mouse for the camera. I don't WASD at all. I don't do it so much here because I don't like middle click. I'm used to, like, you know, the WoW clone. The WoW clone standard is left click for camera, right click for facing, and so I'm accustomed to that. And my normal play style is to just constant. Tell me actually, am I spinning the camera a lot? I don't think I am, because the nature of Revolution with auto retaliate on is not particularly interactive. But my normal play style is to spin a lot. And like, someone was watching me play, I can't remember what it was now, it might have been Swotor or something. And the camera was just spinning in circles constantly. I was just constantly looking around me all the time. I guess because I get bored watching the auto attack combat. But I'm not conscious of whether I'm doing it or not. I got my 60 attack, but I didn't switch my weapon. Did I go back in again after I got 60 attack? I didn't actually notice. My attention span is so bad. I feel like every review I read of RuneScape was someone who basically played the tutorial and then one piercing note. Yes, that's probably true. Reviewers are encouraged to play. That's almost certainly true that we pointed them in that direction. I think we should do that. That one, probably. Let's find out. Let's find out if that is a usable upgrade. Is that the zone of... Oh, this would be a lot easier if I had... Shake my head. Oh my god, Jagex, this is so melee unfriendly. What? I mean, it's an illustrative point, right? Largely every mechanic is melee unfriendly unless you go out of your way to make it melee friendly, which is just... It's such a paradox in game design, it's really difficult. Do I need to, like, run and pick these up and then come back again? Is that actually worth the damage I take? I can't tell. Oh, I can't... Do they pick up, or do I have to stand in them? I'm not clear. Oh, it restores my prayer, though. Okay, that's hugely valuable. Wow, it restores my prayer really fast as well. Okay, that's actually pretty good. Do they keep spawning even if I'm out of combat? That's very oddly designed, but very powerful. But yes, also horribly melee unfriendly. Yeah, I'm not going to make this, am I? Okay, so if I wanted to make progress on Shattered Worlds, what I would need to do is go switch out my weapon, but then come back using magic. Horrible. Oh, I'm not going to make this, am I? Is there any point carrying on? Ah, it's finally Orichalcum Warhammer time. Is it Warhammer? 200 Warhammer. Can't remember how it's labelled. Probably a better time for us using a halberd. Halberd, noob halberd. Is it dragon halberd at my level? I can go buy one. Where does it drop from? That's what we should do. We should farm a dragon halberd. I haven't farmed very much yet, like just sat and farmed something. Dragon Harvard. Requires the completion of regicide. I mean, regicide is on my list. We could go do regicide. In fact, I think I've started regicide. Wait, where? Oh, I've got the. Do I get anima for reaching the exit? I think I do. I think I get something for making it to the exit. I did underground pass, go to regicide. Yeah, totally. Wait, does regicide require underground pass? Oh yes, sorry, I did accept. Yes, I remember now. I accepted it, and I got stage 1 or something, but I never continued with it. 56 agility required. Oh, is it actually required? I thought, but maybe am I imagining it? Yeah, regicide there. Wait, so how have I started it? What? Oh, the courier ran up and gave me the letter, which automatically started the quest. But presume what? Can I not continue until I have 56 agility? Is that correct? That sounds really annoying. Got to get through underground pass. Oh my god. I mean, that is certainly an objective that we could have. that is a thing that we could do. Is we could grind out 56 agility. Where am I now? 40. Dear God. I mean, I do have. Wait, I'm not sure I actually have Silverhawk boots. Are they on Django? Is that where my Silverhawk boots should be? Because I could just put some Silverhawk boots on. Yeah, I've not been to Hertz Oasis. Could do that. Just get some Silverhawks and then go to Hertz Oasis. Is that? I mean, like, because I don't want to do things the artificial meta way, but I feel like. Oh, hang on, I've gone to the wrong door. I feel like not using Silverhawks on agility is essentially just not doing the thing that everyone else does. Grind agility for an hour and put agility rework at the top of my list. Yeah, no, I know. I mean, I've been involved with multiple agility reworks. It's always been high on everyone's list all the time. It's missing. I mean, I could go and do. Oh no, I'm not eligible. Is Empty Throne Room 65? Because I could go and do the Empty Throne Room divination, but the agility is separate, isn't it? Is it 65 agility to do Empty Throne Room agility? Agility is lacking. Was I talking about this? Like skill design. Agility is lacking a non-active training method, which I think is why Silverhawks wouldn't have been such a big deal if agility had a kind of AFK or semi-AFK training method. But because it didn't, then Silverhawks are actually like super meta breaking. Agility also lacks a point. Yeah, well, yeah. You've got the guy in the chat to talk to you about that. Right, what am I doing? I'm going back to Berthel. I mean, I may as well put myself like if so. I mean, agility is pretty conspicuously not leveled. Is there anything I can do usefully other than Silverhawks? I mean, I guess I should go. I did go to the Brimhaven agility dungeon, and I absolutely hated it. And I don't super mind the Berthorpe agility, but obviously I'm pretty overleveled for it, and also it's a very poor fit for my attention span. Agility is a horrible fit for my attention span. It's not a skill that is a good fit for the way my brain works. I mean, I imagine that's probably true for most people. It's not a good fit for the way their brain works. Barbarian agility course. Ah, yes, I unlocked it. I think. Do it. Do I need to? So I'm unclear on how agility works. Let's go do a tiny bit. I'm not going to grind out agility for hours. Does it matter like wearing boots of lightness and stuff anymore, or does that now not matter? I can't remember how it works. Games necklace. I have a games necklace. I have one. I made one. Where is it? There. Yeah. Games necklace. So I don't need any particular gear. I don't need to put anything on or not. Run courses with Silverhawks. Yeah, that's a good idea. Let's do that. It never mattered. Oh, did it not? Is it only for quest stuff? So if I look in Django, is he going to have Silverhawks? Yes. What have we got here? A Silverhawk and Silverhawk boots. Retrieve. 50,000. I don't. Are they just automatically unlocked on Django for everyone? Is that how it works, or do you have to make them, or like why do I have them? I don't understand. The Wikipedia recommended training method from 18 to 30 is to cross the same shortcut repeatedly forever. It's free from the Oddments store, so should I just claim them from Oddments? Is that in here? Let's see if I can figure out where it is. Yeah, here. No, because when I tried to do that, it told me I already owned them. So I'm up because I probably got them. Yeah, 50,000 gold, man. Come on. I don't like what. I really like loot jewels. I think it's a really cool. I think it's a really cool promo. I want more treasure hunting keys so I can play more loot jewels. I think it's really cool. Um, Silver. Retrieve 50,000. I mean, that's a playstyle point that's worth focusing on me. And another thing that I struggle with a little bit with Runescape is I'm very much like I will do ludicrously inefficient things to avoid paying fees. So like when it's like pay 50,000 gold, it probably wasn't even worth the time it took to spend like 1 minute exploring the interfaces to figure out if I could get them back for free, because that's just not how the economy works. But like part of the reason I'm a little skeptical about gold sinks is that I feel like gold sinks largely discourage the use of certain features or make you analyze whether it's worth it or make you save up more money so that you can use them. Now, that may just be personal to me, and it may be that most people don't play that. Stop stalling, go to the barbarian course. God damn it. Right, where are my feathers? They're in here somewhere. So do I need the down and the feathers? I don't know how either of these things work. Here's some down and here's some feathers. What do these things do? Let's have a look. Let's put the boots on. And then, hang on, how charged are my boots? Presumably not at all. Can I tell that? Check charges. 0 charges. So do I just shove all of this in? Is that how this works? Is there a difference between down and... Oh yeah, one is tradable and one is not. Is that correct? But I don't know which one is which. And there's no way to tell from the interface, I don't think. You should really have whether... Oh, cannot be traded, it does say. I feel like there should probably be a fairly standard tooltip where you can see whether something is tradable. That feels like something that should be basic information, but it's not. The problem is the more you overload the tooltip, we struggle with this a lot. There's a lot of guys internally that think about tooltips a lot and fix tooltips a lot. And one of the struggles they have is like more tooltips, less tooltips. I need 83 agility to do all quests. Yeah. But by the time I get to 83 agility, we'll have done 3 agility reworks. It's fine. Right, so where am I going? Games Necklace. Do I need anything else? Barbarian Outpost. I hope I don't need anything else because I'm going. Oh, there's a bank there, isn't there? There's a bank at Barbarian Assault. I should probably do Barbarian Assault at some point since I worked on the rework. I never actually got to playtest it for some reason. I can't remember. They were doing group playtests and I was never in the group playtest because they had a full group. So I was just writing the lore. Have I done Barcrawl? Yes, I have. I have done Barcrawl because I'm amazing. You can see if something be traded on the G and how I examine it. Oh, I suppose so, because if it has a GE value, then it can by definition be traded. So yes, I suppose so. You do have that information. Yes, that's fair. But there's a few weird exceptions, right? Like they can be traded, but they can't be GE'd. But yeah, no, I suppose you're right. Yeah. Right. What are we doing? Is this where I'm going? Obstacle pipe. Oh, let's go. This is going to be amazing. Let's do it. I've never done this one before. Oh, there we go. Oh, yeah. So pumping. I'm assuming I leveled up just then because of the Silverhawks and not because of the not because of the Soul Gods. Oh, have I skipped a bit? Have I skipped that one? Do I need to do all of them? My map is freaky massive. Yes, it is. I make it massive because then I can navigate enormous distances while clicking on the map. Well, I did it. What's down here? Let's go look. This course has 2 routes. Ah, it's an interesting pit. So this course doesn't appear to have very clearly defined entrances and exits. It's a bit odd. I don't feel good using the Silverhawks, I have to say. I mean, I know that that's a very old take, but it doesn't feel good. I do feel good using bonus XP. I don't feel good using Silverhawks. So wait, did I just do it? Do I need to do something else, or is the advanced course only like high level agility? I mean, talking about like content where the player character is definitively 9. I guess bar crawl, the player can't be 9 unless the drinking age in Gilnor is really low, which it probably is because it's the medieval period, but also that's kind of tasteless from the point of view of modern social considerations, so it's difficult to get right. But my daughter would, my 8-year-old daughter would absolutely adore this agility course. She would think this is the most amazing thing she'd ever seen. Next time you swing the rope, click the log immediately after you click the rope. What advanced techniques? Oh, I missed! I'm so bad at agility. Oh my god, I failed. I waited too long. Oh, alright. Like this. Well, let's see. That didn't work. Well, that didn't work. It didn't work on that one. It's inconsistent. Yeah, there's a reason agility is my lowest skill. Right, okay, let's try it again then. No! Too soon! You can click the next one when you get the XP drop. Just generally, my clicking is super inaccurate anyway. Oh, yeah, hang on. Yeah. No, it didn't work! Oh, I did it exactly at the XP drop. Oh. Yeah. It's not very good UX, but it does get the job done. Well, I was nowhere near ready for that one. Okay, where are we trying to get to? 56. Okay, we're going to be here a while. This is the quality streaming content that Twitch was made for. Oh, goddamn. I mean, we could just go do something else and let the Silverhawks do their magic. That would probably be a good idea. Wait, how many charges have I got? Doesn't want to tell me. 959 remaining, yeah. Find some quests that give agility XP. Yeah, that might be a good idea as well. Silverhawks have good combat stats. Oh yeah, I didn't check that. Yeah, not bad. Let's do one more. Let's do one more. He's failed. He's failed. He can't make it. I'm then staring at the Silverhawks. I mean, that's why I'm not playing an I. That's why I'm trying to DIY, right? Because I'm DIYing, which allows me to understand more of the game because I don't just bypass it. But also, if I was playing an Iron Man, I wouldn't be able to experience the joy of the Silverhawks, and that's quite important, right? Is that the end? Let's go. I've had a great time at the Barbarian Outpost. I've really enjoyed that. Let's go do something else. What else is there in this game that I can do that I haven't done? Well, something I haven't done. I'd like to do something I haven't done. Was there anything I have? I did go to do Hobie Werby. I did do Shattered Vault. Shattered. What am I talking about? God statues. Getting confused. I did do the circus. I never found the rune sphere in the rune spam, but I didn't feel particularly like any strong urge to do it. Is Rune Goldberg something I should do? Rune Goldberg, but are today's runes something I actually have? Let's have a look. I need to look it up on the wiki, right? Rune Goldberg. It is chaos and then either astral dust or nature. Is that correct? I don't think I even have 500 chaos runes. Let's go check in a bank. Rune Goldberg is trivial. Yeah, but I still need to do it. Have I unlocked player and farm? Yes, I have unlocked player and farm, and I've done it today. I've also sent my voyages off today, although I should probably check back because they're quite short ones. I could just go do some dungeoneering, yeah. Evil Day's Big Day Out has 20,000 agility on it. Does it? Well, that's crazy, Broken. What? I mean, I might have done Evil Dave's Big Day Out on this account, actually. I can't remember. Let's have a look. Evil Dave's Big Day Out. Can I? Oh, I need to do Recipe for Disaster first. Okay, sure. That is a lot of XP, isn't it? That sounds quite efficient. That sounds quite time efficient. Is it? It looks time efficient to me. Am I misreading it? That looks like very good use of my time. Evil Dave's rewards are much bigger than other quests. Alright, so first I need to go start Recipe for Disaster, which I don't believe I've started. Recipe for Disaster. Here we go. Talk to the cook in Lumbridge Castle. Boom. Right, so I'll keep my silver hooks on. They are... yeah, pretty good. And there is my Orichalcum. That's the Warhammer. My Orichalcum. I'd much rather use a one-handed weapon and a shield, stylistically speaking. But that is not an option that the game wants me to have. Where's that go? That goes there. Is that everything? Yes. I'm ready. Beneath Cursed Tides is another quest of Great Rewards. Yes, I did Beneath Cursed Tides. And I have done my oyster. Is there anything I need? Oh god, loads of stuff. Right, this seems like a quest that I'll figure it out. I noticed there's a big difference, I felt, between quests where the required items are like deep inside a dungeon. Like, I'm all the way through... oh, actually, Temple of Ikov's it's not that far from the entrance, right? Because of the way Temple of Ikov is spoked. But like, it would be really annoying to show up without the 20 limpworts and then be like, oh, I need to go all the way back and get the 20 limpworts. Which feels quite different from a quest like Family Crest or Hero's Quest, which was much more about traveling around. It wasn't a dungeon; it was like traveling the world repeatedly and going back to a spoke. And so, like when I talk to a man who's near a lodestone, and yeah, I agree. A new player would use a shield, and I think we should support it as a playstyle, but that's a combat balancing problem. Um, if it's a quest that involves repeatedly talking to NPCs that are near lodestones, it felt very organic to me to have to go away. Like I needed to go and fish a bass for Family Crest, and that was good. Like it felt good. It felt like a good interaction. I enjoyed it. It wasn't like get to the end of a really tedious agility course and then need a bass at the end. So it very much depends on the style of quest. Right, let's go to Lumbridge. It's fine to get item requirement already heading somewhere and being told to prep. Yeah, it just depends on the. It's good in a sense. I love it when stuff is designed. Like RuneScape is full of different ideas, right? Different people designing things in different ways, inconsistent, but like intriguing. And I really like it from a game design point of view because it allows me to like experience all of these different ways of doing things, and thus you can have hypothetical design conversations where you sit down and discuss, is it good to do this, is it good to do that? And the fact that RuneScape tries all of these different ideas is fantastic because you get like a clear demonstration of whether they work or not. Scouser says I like quests that are punishing in that way. Yeah, I mean, fair enough. I mean, Ikov was because of Ikov's spoked design. I didn't think Ikov was particularly well designed. It was interesting. I mean, I'd done Ikov several times before, but I hadn't remembered it very clearly. The ice arrows are an interesting example of I would say a bad execution of a good idea. I think this enemy requires fairly specific gear to defeat is actually a really good thing. I really like it. This is why I don't stream quests, because I stop and talk instead of doing the quest. To me, the Fire Warrior of Lazarkos requiring ice gear to defeat is really good. I really like that. I think that capitalizes on RuneScape's strengths. It's a hugely varied game with all sorts of different things. The fact that you specifically have to pick up the ice arrows from a nearby cave full of spiders. Firstly, it's very contrived level design to have the ice arrows right next to the fire guy. But secondly, like, it feels like it's not taking advantage of the strengths of the game. You know, like, what I would want to see on the wiki is like, this enemy can only be defeated by using ice equipment. Here's a huge variety of different ice equipment that exists in the game that you might like to use. If you don't have any of these things, you don't want to go get them. Well, there are ice arrows in the cave which you can get, or like there's a different quest that you can go back to. That's an interesting thing in thinking about early RuneScape design versus current RuneScape design, is that a lot of this early RuneScape design kind of adds a dungeon and then forces you to interact with that dungeon in the quest. And that's something we kind of don't do anymore, right? Like, and there's implicitly repeatable content been added because there's some useful new farming method. Sorry, what would have at the time been a useful new farming method, I guess, it's irrelevant now. And because our content is so much more tightly controlled now, we tend not to add a Slayer dungeon and also force you to engage that Slayer dungeon to complete the quest. And it actually is nice in the early content. Um, but yeah, it felt like there's an idea there, but it didn't feel quite correctly implemented. If that makes sense. But I mean, in terms of comparing ICOV with Underground Pass, they felt very different to me because Underground Pass was all about kind of trapping you in a long, grueling, punishing um, gauntlet, whereas ICOV had this spoke to design that meant that actually you never had to stay anywhere for very long and you could just come back and do the next bit. I ended up doing it all in one sitting, so it felt exactly the same. Fareed in Desert Treasure works that way. He was designed so you have to use ice arrows if you range, water spells if you mage, or ice gloves if you use melee. Yeah, and they're all reused from previous quests, right? Because I learned to use water spells in Family Crest, and I learned to use ice gloves in Heroes Quest, and I learned to use ice. Wait, is it called Heroes Quest? It's called Heroes Quest, isn't it? And I learned to use ice arrows in Temple of Ikov. Does it require all three of those? I'm not actually checked. But if that's correct, then that's really neat. Heroes Quest isn't required. Oh, but I could just go kill the Queen of Snow and get them, right? Because they're not a quest reward from that quest. So yeah, that's neat. I mean, if it did require all three, that would be quite elegant. Because it's kind of taught you the methods and then expects you to sort of follow those methods. So I don't mean that as a criticism of Desert Treasure. Just that sort of thing could work quite nicely. Anyway, there we go. Have I done this? I have completed Recipe for Disaster, but it was years ago, and I don't remember anything. I'm getting strong and mighty. Grr. That's my wife would write that dialogue. Yep. When was this? What's the date on this? Oh, I'll check when I'm not in dialogue. It isn't. Was it like the 100th quest, wasn't it? Is that right? Was it the 100th quest or the 100th quest point? Yeah, 100th quest. Yeah, it's called 100 quest in the code. If you go look up Recipe for Disaster, it's just called 100 quest. We're doing Recipe for Disaster, but I can't remember why. Oh, we're doing Recipe for Disaster to unlock Evil Dave, so we can do Evil Dave, so we can get Agility XP. It makes perfect sense. Oh, except it's actually really late, and I probably shouldn't start Evil Dave. Let's see how far through Recipe for Disaster we get. Oh, it's really hot here. I hate not being able to have the fan on when I'm streaming. I like streaming, but I don't like not having the fan on. This quest has very memey dialogue. Yeah, who wrote the because it was different. Each part was written by a different developer, wasn't it? But who wrote the core part? Let's find out. Is it all credited correctly? Framework mod James. Goblins Ian Gower, Pirate Pete Wilson, Lumber Sage mod Tim, Evil Dave John A. James did Desert Treasure. James did a bunch of stuff, didn't he? Didn't he do? He did slugs, didn't he? Or am I getting confused? It's the Observatory, Ernest the Chicken, Fishing Contest, Night Sword, Black Knight's Fortress before, Dragon Slayer, Recruitment Drive, Murder Mystery, Priest in Peril, Horror from the Deep, Desert Treasure, Curse of Zaros, Feminic Trials, Enter the Abyss, Wanted. Look at the dialogue in the new Zami dungeon. That was yeah, that was Ramen and Sponge who write somewhat differently to the way the Law Council write, I would say. I've lost track of this dialogue now. I'm getting Adrastea vibes from the chef here. He's like, I need you to help me prove what a good cook I am. Definite Adrastea vibes. Okay, let's do it. Let's do this. What do I think of spacebar as in quests, Jack? I think people should play the game however they want. Like, I don't really have any time for questers who say that PVMers are playing the game wrong, or PVMers who say that questers are playing the game wrong. I think it's a strength of RuneScape, like especially compared to other MMOs. Like most MMOs are built around the idea that if you don't like what that game has to offer, you don't play it. And RuneScape offers a huge variety of content to different people, and I think people should engage with it if they want. Um, I would say that like it's very tricky to get the right line of who should be forced to do what. Like it's not really my decision not to lock bosses behind quests. That like I defend that position quite a lot, but that's not really my decision. I think if I was building my own dream MMO however I wanted without caring about what the audience wants, I probably would lock bosses behind quests. But it's not the right call for RuneScape. But I do think that quests should offer rewards that everyone wants, and therefore they are forced to do the quest to get the reward, which is different from they are forced to do the quest to unlock an unrelated piece of content. Um, they should feel like the quest is like it's like a carrot rather than a stick, right? Um, and those feel distinct for me, even if in practice they feel similar. But if I don't want to do quests, and I have to do quests to get the reward, which is a lot of our audience, not, I don't think a majority, but close to 50% of our audience are only doing the quests for the rewards and could not care less what they say or who the characters are. That's fine. Like that's absolutely perfectly reasonable way. They read a guide, spacebar the dialogue. I'm glad that they are allowed to participate in our game rather than like prevented from participating in our game. Yes, yeah, Martin said spacebarring gives you more time to read the dialogue versus dumping 5 paragraphs in one interface. That is a specific writing style of mine that I copied from Mod Rowley that he now says he wasn't doing on purpose. So, like, I try to make sure there's only one sentence per dialogue box, and that way, when you spacebar, you can still read the entire conversation, and it's very easy to quickly go through the dialogue. As soon as you put like 2 or even 3 sentences in the box, you have to stop and very carefully focus on it, and you just can't like quickly skim read it. So I do that on purpose. I don't think most people do. And obviously some Stu writes these legendary dialogue, like massive paragraphs that flow over into 2 and sometimes 3 boxes, which I don't think I would recommend. It's interesting. The most recent WoW expansion forced people to do quests. Usually, in the way WoW works, you level up via any method you want, and you get to the end game, and quests are irrelevant. Like questing in WoW never offers anything worth having ever, except XP to level up with. And the most recent WoW expansion forced you to complete the entire critical path quest line. And until you did that, you weren't allowed to participate in the end game, and that annoyed the shit out of the player base. Like they hated it. It's part like Blizzard have kind of collapsed. I don't think that's unfair. And like that entire expansion, because I followed it quite closely in the MMO news, right? That entire expansion was full of player hostile design decisions. It kind of felt like their EOC, but came a lot later. Like there was again and again and again there were high level design decisions which the players hated and the designers kind of insisted were necessary, all of which they ended up like eventually backing off when everyone quit. Does WoW have lore plays? Yes, I was linking pages from the WoW lore community. They're hilarious. They're way more like, you remember the old lore forums, the old Runescape lore forums. Imagine that, but with way more people who are way more invested, and like imagine the RuneScape lore forums, but somehow angrier. That's the WoW lore community. Um, they're so angry because they're faction because they went all in on factions, or have always been all in on factions. So it's like the Saradomin and Zamorak wars, except everyone in WoW is absolutely invested in the idea that everyone at Blizzard is hugely biased towards some faction or some race. Like everyone at Blizzard only plays Alliance and hates the Horde, or vice versa, and everyone at Blizzard only plays elves and hates humans, and they don't write any human content. And I bet the vast majority of Blizzard devs don't even care about the difference between the races. But the hardcore lore players are like, why don't elves get more lore content for elves? It's totally unfair. It's fascinating to read. It's really funny. The WoW lore community is bigger for them to support time books. I mean, yeah, it's a game with more players, right? It just is. Um, and so yeah, so every part of their theory crafting community is larger, and their lore community is larger. It just is what it is. Um, I think their lore community are feeling somewhat hard done by recently because all the lore has been absolutely atrocious. I realise that some of our community feel the same way, and I apologise to those players, but we're doing our best. Banquet cookbook, blah blah blah. Some oddities. Need the following ingredients: an eye of newt. I've got one of those. A freshly made dirty blast. I think I made one of those in an earlier quest. A rotten tomato and a glass of Greenman's ale. 100 coins. Alright, well, I'm going to Google that straight away and find out where I would get those things. No, where am I? Oh god. I'm trying to find it in the guide. This is a very hard guide to read. Another cook's... Oh, I see. Right, it's linked on a separate page. Right, I got it. Sorry, I'll read back on the chat because I've rambled for a bit there. Jagex is biased towards Saradomin. Yeah, well, it's funny that. Like, I mean, I've been showing screenshots of my character. I've got my bronze Zamarakian medallion in the bank, and I've got my Praetor title. When I went to do Death of Chivalry, I got to tell Saradomin off because I was like, I sided against you at the Battle of Lumbridge, and I serve Zaros, not you. So like, yeah, always these elaborate theories about office politics, and there's a story decision people don't like. Yeah, it's fascinating because the thing is, it's true often enough to keep it going. Game developers are biased sometimes and do make decisions based on their bias sometimes. Sometimes it's not intentional bias. Sometimes it's like if I mean, RuneScape's not class based, right? But like if I play a class in a game and don't play another class, I can't main all classes. Most games, I just simply can't main all classes. Even if I'm a super hardcore player of that game, I can't main every LoL character. I can't main every WoW class. So it's impossible for me to have the most in-depth knowledge of every aspect of the game. So when things get worked on, developers won't necessarily bias the thing they play to be better, like numerically speaking, but they may well just do a better job of the thing. They'll recognize the QOL features, they'll polish the elements of the mechanics because they know the mechanics so well. And if a different designer, perhaps they're not as good, or perhaps they're newer, or perhaps they're just not as in tune with that element, maybe they're better at economy design than ability design. And the guy who mains warriors is really good at ability design, but the guy who mains mages, he knows mages well, but he's just not as good an ability designer. He's a better economic designer. So the game's economy is in a really good state, but mages just struggle a bit compared to warriors. And it's bias is the wrong way to put it, because it suggests like the devs are sitting down going, I like warriors more, so I'm going to buff warriors. It's not. It's extremely unlikely to be that. It could be, but it's extremely unlikely. It's way more likely to just be implicit, like skill bias on the part of the developers who are making the content. That you'll find that like if they love something, they do a better job of it. Of course they do, and you can't mandate that someone loves something. It just doesn't happen that way. I was talking to my friend about Guild Wars 2. So Guild Wars 2 has a patch. So I haven't looked into it in detail, but apparently it's been quite a controversial patch because the class that was already best has got even better, and another class that was struggling a bit has been redesigned and is even worse now, or something like that. And the players are screaming about bias, and I suspect it's exactly what I just said, which is like the developer who designed the currently overperforming class polished it even further, and the developer that was assigned to fix the underperforming class doesn't main that class and just was unable or just didn't do a very good job of fixing it, because it's just not their passion to fix that specific class, right? It's hard to get right. It doesn't work particularly well. But it's not. I don't think it's a solvable problem. It's just something that goes wrong with game development, and I don't think what you could do is like smash down the more passionate dev. You could say, no, I realize you're passionate, but don't do such a good job. And I think that's probably not the right solution to the problem. But you can't like smash people up. You can't force passion or mandate passion. It's hard to, like, when you've got some, you should definitely channel it, right? But that can result in lack of balance. There's just nothing really done about it. Doesn't Final Fantasy 14 expect you to main every class? I don't know. Sorry. Off topic, how are you feeling about Zami's release week? Happy with reception? Yeah, it's been hugely positive as far as I can see. Um, yeah, it just seems to be really positive. Like, generally, buzz in the community is really positive. There are obviously some issues. They were jumped on pretty quickly. I feel like in particular the high score race was really, really good, and we haven't done anything like that for quite a while. And my impression is that um, that high score race has engaged people. It's hard to really judge that. We'll get reports in on the impressions and engagement, but it seems to have really engaged people in a way that I think people perhaps thought that RuneScape 3 couldn't do anymore. Like, old school obviously does a lot of that kind of stuff, and RuneScape is less, like, has done less of that. And I feel like we've kind of put ourselves back a bit and said, like, yeah, we can do this stuff. There is actually reason I think, because the last one was what, Dimension of the Damned, which didn't go particularly well. So yeah, it's good. It's really positive. Yeah, and it was really nice to have RS guy. Yeah, it was nice to have someone in his position who couldn't participate for other reasons. Therefore, being able to do that commentary, I think, added a hell of a lot. It was really good. Yeah, it was nice. I don't know. I mean, it would have been interesting. It would have been a very different. Oh, but Ramen and Sponge were planning to go on the stream and talk, but they ended up just, they were busy doing fixes all day because, like, problems were coming in and they were working hard all day fixing them. So they couldn't have, like, done that commentary. And it was nice to have someone so knowledgeable, right, to do the commentary, who he knew the content. Um, it was funny how excited he was. I loved it. Like, he was like Spear wanted to go for lunch, and RS guy was like, "Can I just keep streaming?" And Spear was like, "No, I'm sorry, you can't. Come and have some lunch." RS guy just wanted to keep going, and then as soon as he got off the stream, he was desperate to, like, actually get on and kill Zamorak. It was really nice to see how enthusiastic he was for the content. Spent all day hardcore streaming it. It's like, I can't wait to get home and do more streaming. Well, not get home, but you know what I mean. Expected the stream to be 4 hours, ended up with Spear being kicked out of the office at 9 p.m. and RS Guy taking over. Yeah, yeah, right. Like, yeah, they were both loving it and they were having a really good time, and it's really wonderful to see. And that's really, really nice to like. I love that kind of thing. It's a shame almost that it was online. It's a shame we weren't in the office. That would have worked really nicely if the stream had been live from the office in the streaming room. We could have just wandered in and guested, and it would have had a bit more of a vibe, you know? Like that would have been really nice. But yeah, it is what it is. Like given COVID, right? Well, not it's not COVID exactly, but it's like work from home now. We're not all in the office anymore, which is a shame. I was wondering about dropping in, but I felt like I didn't. If Ramen and Sponge weren't on the stream, I had permission to drop in, but it felt inappropriate because it wasn't my update, right? I mean, I had a little bit of involvement, but it wasn't. It wasn't. Um, it felt like it would have been kind of claiming credit, and I didn't feel. I don't want to be that guy that just kind of wanders into someone else's update when they're not even there and claims credit for it. And I didn't feel like I had very much to add to Ryan's analysis either, so I didn't really have any reason to go on, you know. But yeah, it would be nicer to have like more of a social feel to it. Follow said /r/RuneScape subreddit traffic is up 33% and page views have doubled. Wow, that's cool. That's great. Someone who applied to Jagex told me it's mostly work from home. Yeah, it's our policy is essentially full work from home at your discretion unless your job requires otherwise. So like obviously Spear can't do his job from home because he has to be in the streaming room. He needs that equipment. And our video team and our audio team. Actually, some of the audio team are at home and some of them are at work. But like if they need equipment to do their jobs, then they go into the office to use that equipment. So like some of the departments, you know, the IT department obviously need to monitor the servers, and like anyone who needs like expensive machines to do video rendering or audio rendering or something like that, they just do their jobs in the office. So for a while, actually, early in lockdown, like people who had to do their jobs still went into the office. So it was like just the video team in the office for like 6 months or something like that. Um, so now the policy is basically like a lot of teams try to work it. Like some people are back in the office full time because they just want to be around other people. Other people go in occasionally on and off, depending on what suits them really as a person. Scouser said, I like that policy because Cambridge doesn't sound like a nice pleasant place. Cambridge is lovely. Like, I don't know what impression you've got, but no, Cambridge is really nice. Um, I mean, yeah, I guess I shouldn't talk too much about like the people in Cambridge and the life in Cambridge, but yeah, it's nice, it's lovely. It is very expensive, yes. So if that's what you mean, like it doesn't sound pleasant because you can't afford a house, then yes, absolutely. If you absolutely pathologically hate like Oxbridge students, then you won't see very many of them because they're all off where the like I live up the business end of town and we don't really see students at all. Like everyone who lives near me is either a local or like a young professional couple that works in either the science park or the business park. Maybe you disintegrate if you go south of Nottingham. Oh yeah, right, so like that, right? Yeah, yeah. I mean, if you hate like Southerners, then yeah, Cambridge would be awful because it's full of Southerners. But I mean, the thing about Cambridge is it's so international. Like huge numbers of people work for the university or work for all the local businesses. Huge numbers of Europeans, um, Chinese people. Like it's a real mixture of people, right? So it's not. There are a lot of Southerners, Southern Englanders here, but also like just people from all over the world. Right, what am I doing? It's late. It's midnight. What was I supposed to be doing here? God damn it. I've Newt, Greenman's Ale, Rotten Tomato, Ashes I have, Fruit Blast. That's presumably from Gnome Stronghold. Not Gnome Stronghold. Gnome. Wait, I forget which one's which. Gnome Stronghold is the one with the maze, right? Or have I got that? No, Gnome Stronghold is the one I mean. What's this one called? Gnome Village. Totally different. Do/wiki/item. I've got it. I've got the wiki open in my other page. Um, right. Greenman's Ale is made at 29 cooking. Can also be bought after Horror from the Deep. Right. What do I need? Harrowlander Ale. Oh god damn it! I think I might do this another time. I'll do this during a meeting tomorrow. Yeah, I mean that was my first project, right? Was renaming Barbarian Village because I was like, why doesn't this place have a name? And they were like, oh, it's just never had a name. And I'm like, I'm going to give it a name. And then we were actually nervous. So you see on the map now, it says Gunner's Grun brackets Barbarian Village because there was a genuine concern at the time that players would be confused when they logged in and the name of something had changed on the map. So I believe it only changes after you've completed the quest, right? Like, and then I actually ended up integrating into. So I didn't originally plan to do that, but I ended up integrating into the quest the concept that it gets renamed during the quest, which in retrospect I think was a mistake. I mean, it was kind of like what was agreed to at the time, but from the point of view of both my design decision and other design decisions, I think that was an error and it should have just been renamed. Old school's cocked. I don't think you mean cock tower. I'm guessing you mean clock tower, but I like your version better. Old school's clock tower is the most iconic minimap label. What about it? What's it? I don't know what you're referring to. There's a clock tower. It's down here, isn't it? Oh, he means cocktail. Oh, what? Because the L is over a line like that? Is that the issue? Right. I mean, it's kind of is here as well, right? But I guess it's not as pronounced. I see. Is that? I mean, the spacing's wrong. Old school players will laugh at anything. I should probably stop and go to bed, I think, rather than try to do this. I will gather these tedious ingredients and I will do. I think it would be interesting to stream Evil Dave because I know it very well. Um, so I have a lot to say about it, but I won't bother streaming Recipe for Disaster, I think. But yes, I think I should probably go to bed rather than keep playing now. I know the other versions of it too. Yes, the two previous versions of Evil Dave, yeah. Raise a cat to adult. Is that for the Evil Dave section? Needs an adult cat. I mean, I'll be reading a guide, so if it's in the guide, then I'll know. Oh god, yes, raise a cat to adult. This is for freeing Evil Dave. Okay, well I'll read through the guide. Do I have to? I don't have to do them in order, do I? I can do the subquests as long as I meet the requirement for each subquest. I can do that subquest. Is that correct? I also have to do Golem and Shadow of the Storm. Right. Yes. Okay. Yep. I have done Demon Slayer. I haven't done Golem and Shadow of the Storm yet. Yep. Okay. Right. Well, I've got a lot to work on there. Okay. It'll be a while till we do Evil Dead. This I'm gonna have earned this 20,000. I'm gonna by the time I've done all this stuff, my Silverhawks are gonna have got me to 85. Definitely. No problem. How much does one down give you? It's like some proportion of a small lamp, isn't it? It feels inherently wrong to me to use Silverhawks at level 40. Um, because of the lamp mechanics, right? Like, uh, oh, I can change the level of them. Can I? No, I can't. It says I can. Oh, they have to be in the inventory. Right. Change level. Yeah, that makes sense. Level 60. What were they before? Ah, the same. Right. High level agility is faster to train. Anachronia is much nicer. What's the level? I can do a bit of Anachronia. Yeah, I've got to do all the quests anyway, so it's not like I'm doing this just for the agility XP. The XP of feathers is 10% of a small lamp, so it's like 90 small lamps. You'd expect me to already have a quest cape? No, I've never had a quest cape. Yeah, follow. You went around for my early streams, right? The point. So I know elements of RuneScape extremely well, but I also have weird blind spots in my RuneScape knowledge. So, and in particular, a lot of the content I've only played in dev. And although we don't, sorry, like we cheat to varying degrees depending on what it is and what we're testing. So I don't have a good handle, especially on the mid-game meta. I have not experienced the end-game meta from a player point of view, but given that it's all anyone ever talks about, I know the end-game better more than the mid-game meta, if that makes sense. So I'm trying to force myself to experience things more from a player point of view to make sure that I'm, get more knowledge about the game. But yes, I am never going to be maxed. I'm never going to be comped. I think I am going to aim for a quest cape. I think that's a reasonable thing that I should aim for and get. But I'm not. I have no intention of maxing. They have as wild rewards compared to its requirements. Um, well, I mean, there's. I guess there's classic. Well, what is the? Um, I don't actually know Knight Sword. It gets you to 37, doesn't it? Or am I going mad? I feel like Knight Sword, which has what, no requirements? Oh, Knight Sword requires 10 mining. I feel like, although the Evil Dave reward is much larger, compared to its requirements, I feel like you have to do quite a lot to do Evil Dave, right? I mean, well, not a lot, not by end game standards, but like by early game standards, you have to do quite a lot to unlock Evil Dave. Whereas you don't have to do anything really to unlock Knight Sword, and you just get crazy nonsense for it. Like skipping, like how many? Does anyone remember off the top of their head how many levels it is? I can't remember the XP curve. Let's have a look. Level curve. 12,000 is, yeah, level 29. Okay. Yeah, like skipping 29 levels, right? That seems like an inappropriately big deal. Anyway, that's another topic that I discussed already. All right, yeah, I should go. I need to go to bed and do the bins. Good night, everybody.